Welcome all to the In My Opinion Show with Ronald Robinson and friends, seen on the internet 24 hours. To view our programs on the internet, simply type in capital letters RBRIMO and then go to videos. We also are seen on Flint, Michigan Comcast Cable Channel 17 every Saturday at 6 and every Wednesday at 8:30. We're also viewed on Detroit, Michigan Comcast Cable Channel 68 7 days a week. Consult your community calendar. I want to welcome our panel. First we have Mr. Henry Hatter. Welcome.
Hi, Ronald, and I want to say hi to the rest of your guests who have graduates from the colleges and universities around the country. That means that you have a great panel here.
Well, thank you, Mr. Hatter. And next we have Miss Jackie Williams. Welcome.
Hi, Ron. Hi, everybody.
And Miss Denise Smith-Allen.
Hello, Ron, and hello, distinguished panel.
And welcome to our millions of viewers worldwide. We're going to talk about a lot of things. But on this particular show, we're going to talk about the war on poverty. The war on poverty has not been achieved. Why? More people than ever are homeless and hungry in Genesee County, the state, and the nation. President Lyndon Johnson was the architect of the war on poverty. And we have not came close to achieving his vision. And for the life of me, I don't understand why not. Us being the most powerful and richest country in the world, but yet all of us have seen, people with these placards, homeless, hungry, or veteran, homeless, hungry, even families. I've seen families. The other day it was a lady with 4 children, at a stop sign. And it just pains me, and I'm sure I share that sentiment with millions of our viewers. What is your thoughts, Jackie?
Yeah, that is a great concern of mine. And one of the things that I find is that a lot of people lack the information of the resources that are available. And I think that Obama administration is working diligently on helping people keep homes, as well as if you don't have a home, providing resources. In Flint alone, there is a program called My Brother's Keepers. That is a program for homeless veterans. And they now have a voucher program, which our apartment complex is taking now. So they are providing vouchers, and what they do is they have a house and they cook for them, and then they teach them how to get skills, and they help them get their car notes caught up. So there is programs for them, and then they also connect them to the other programs for the veterans. And then for the homeless, they are doing One Stop is a major place here in Flint, and they are really stepping out. One Stop will provide for you deposit information, and they also will give you, they would take you and let you know where the places are available, what do you need to do to prepare yourself to get a house. But one of the things that I find is that a lot of times when we were growing up, a lot of our families stayed together until our kids were ready to leave. Mm-hmm. That is not the situation right now. Our families are letting our kids move out 15, 16, 17, and they're not ready. And what they're doing is, as me and Denise had a conversation earlier, they're becoming couch buddies at everybody's house. And they no longer have addresses. And this is how they become homeless, is because they leave home because they don't want to follow rules. Or they decide to leave too early, they're not ready, they're not educated, they don't have any job skills, they don't have any income. And they're doing this, so sometimes it's kind of like self-destructive. They're doing things that are hurting themselves. But there's programs to help them to get them off the street. But there is another negative to that. You can't get housing assistance if you don't have an address. You have to have an address. So you have to, one of the good things, you have to go and sign up with one of the shelters in Flint. If you sign up with one of the shelters, they'll help you get housing within 30 days, or they'll help you connect to somewhere else. So yeah, it is a big problem, but there are people that's working on the solution, but you have to get into the resources to know what they're doing to help you help yourself. But you also have to help yourself. That's a big thing. You can't sit at home and sleep until 4 o'clock and then get up and then just go out and think that everything is available after hours.
That's true. Very true. Very true. Yes, to kind of continue on with the discussion that Jackie has, and the other side of this thing about poverty, you have an issue with people who don't necessarily have the wherewithal to go through the process of dealing with the system, and some of that has to do with maybe some mental disability that hasn't been addressed. And so and then there's also the drug component. So there are some issues in which people have kind of either put themselves in a situation or are in a situation because they have not been diagnosed properly or received adequate care for mental disability. So with that, the whole issue of not having benefits available or given to them, it's unfortunate. And then you also have to look at the reality too that there are programs that are not in place like they should be. Now, here in Genesee County, for example, for many years we had community mental health that was available. Well, now there's been a convergence of systems that are kind of working, I guess, in lockstep now. And so people may look for community mental health, but that's no longer community mental health, it's community health services. So even by just changing the name slightly, it kind of maybe throws people off in terms of is that available to me? Is that a resource that I can go to? And so, when you look across the whole United States, there are people who are suffering because of the dynamics in terms of employment, industries that have left and have decimated communities, and now some of them are rebounding, but they're rebounding rather slowly. So if a person only has perhaps a high school education or less than and has no skill sets, then they too are at a disadvantage of staying in a certain cycle. So what we have to do is a better job of having resources available and helping people to be able to broker this system, to work within the system, and to let them know what things are out there. And if they're not out there, then we have to do a better job of encouraging our legislators and people who are empowered to develop those resources to help us get those things out to the people who are in need.
Mr. Hatter, what is your thoughts?
Well, I'll just continue with what Jackie and Denise has begun here, and that is why people become homeless and why they become in such disarray. And I think they both mentioned, there was one that mentioned mental health lacking, and there's a lack of programs for those folks. And then Jackie mentioned that some kids leave home early, and they leave home by choice. There's nothing that parents can do, government can do. They have these rights under the Constitution. They can choose whatever they want to do it, and I defend their rights to do it. And then there's I think self-help. They need to do more self-help. I think you mentioned that, Jack. And I think so. Some of the solutions are within the home and the parents and the community structure, and not in the hands of government. Now, for every argument that you make that there's a problem with poverty in the United States, I can make a counter argument that things are getting better. Now, for example, consider childhood poverty and nutrition. Title I of the United States Code and of the Agriculture provides free and reduced lunches for kids throughout the country, the world, throughout our country. And for proof of that, all you need to do is walk into the classroom in the morning, into the cafeteria, or at noon, and see the millions of dollars of food that kids throw away during the day. Any given day in the United States. Millions. Monies that could be used for other things to improve the quality of life for people. But we allow this to happen because we're pressured by political reasons, by people who don't know what's going on. Then you consider childhood health care. You have My Child. You have the American insurance program called Medicaid. Every child gets that. Things are better. And there are other types of programs. There's AFDC, or whatever they call it now, and other enabling legislation that's made the war on poverty much better. But we have to do a better job of utilizing them and perfecting their distribution and their usage. Because while the rest of we live pretty good in this country, while the rest of the world sits in darkness and in poverty and hunger. And we say, oh, that's okay, as long as we ain't doing it. But we have to, in order to preserve the country for the future, we have to do a better job.
Well, statistics point out that 45 million people in the United States go hungry every day.
You don't want to believe everything that you read.
All right. This has been statistically proven.
No, it has.
All right. Yes, it has. Yes, it has. I would suggest that you do a little more research, Mr. Hatter.
No, it hasn't.
All right. And that's ridiculous.
There are people that milk the system all the time.
And we're talking about milking the system, as you just said. We're talking about kids leaving home early. But what about the millions and millions of jobs that are no longer available here in the United States? Okay? What about all of those people? They need to eat. They need a roof over their head. Okay? But they're not getting it. Okay? Millions of folk. They've lost their homes. They've lost their jobs. All right? It's not because of anything that they've done. Okay, you could attribute it to corporate greed. Okay, downsizing. I mean, there's a number of things that one could. We can't look at this shit. You know what I mean? With our eyes closed. It's people. It's people. I'm not going to lose my temper. These are facts. These are facts. These are proven. These are proven facts. All right.
Can I just say that? Because
sure.
It's my turn. Now, for every person who says that he's been victimized by corporate greed, economic displacement in this country, there are 7 people in the world that want to take that person's place.
We're talking about the United States. I don't give a damn about the rest. I mean, I care,
but
but
the United States and take that person's place.
That doesn't help anything.
No, but look at
how are they going to take their place if the job no longer exists?
No, what I'm saying, Ron, is that people would rather be here than there. Okay? Now, we're not as bad as you think we are. But what we have to do is to go through and solve the problem. And we have to collectively solve that problem. One person by himself, or one institution by himself, or cannot solve the problem. But it takes a mindset of people who want to solve the problem to solve the problem. And then all people won't become rich.
But listen, let me show you how you come up with the 45 million. Mm-hmm. Like I mentioned earlier, if you don't have an address, you cannot get any type of help that we just talked about. Mm-hmm. So if you add up all the people on the highway, that as soon as you get off, they'll work for food, or the people that you see walking throughout the neighborhoods, if you see all of them, they get to have one meal at the soup kitchen in Flint. If you're in Flint, you go to the soup kitchen at noon. They have one meal a day there. And then if you are at I can't think of the name, Carriage Town, you have to be gone by 7 in the morning. You have to wander the city of Flint with your stuff until they're ready for you for that evening.
Right, 7 p.m.
They don't give you anything. They don't give you a snack to go. You have to find food.
We should open up our homes and let
We
these
should.
people in.
That's a good
Why do
word.
we do that?
Should. That means we're not. So my point is, who we're feeding those people in between, they're not being fed. And so the people that are laying on the couches that we mentioned that left their parents, if their parents have open cases, they can't get help because they're underage. They can't get help. This is where your 45 million people are coming from.
Are you sure that it wasn't the presidential candidate? That's his number?
Yours?
Yes.
Yours.
Yeah.
Mine, no.
Romney's number.
Romney's number? Or a Republican number? I'm not sure. I don't keep up with those numbers.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a Democrat number.
Okay.
But anyway.
My point is, here in the United States, we have the greatest education system in the world.
We said that the people are hungry.
Hang on. And every child gets a chance to have a free public education. Everybody. We used to have community education here, and nobody would take advantage of it. We used to hire 67,000 people for General Motors here, and everybody could have a job. Okay? And there should be residual wealth left around here in Flint, among African Americans as well as institutions and whites and so on and so forth. Where is it?
Empty parking lots, that's where it's at.
Well,
You're talking about Flint.
We had chances to
And that's indicative of many other places around the country.
And a lot of them took the money and moved out, near your area.
Like he did, right? He's been out there for years. Okay.
But they didn't move out of my area. They bought new Cadillacs and stuff like that, and boats and stuff like that. But they didn't invest in land like I did. And there should be residual money. We look always at the negative things and not at some of the positive things that can build us. Like, for example, we have enough institutions here. General Motors left enough money here. And collectively among us, and I'm sure that all of you have residual monies, pooled with a plan, you could attract new businesses to the area.
Yeah.
Like Palestinians do in Detroit and other places. There are a lot of things that we can do, but we got to get away from slavery.
Oh, okay. So this sounds like a continuation of the discussion we had earlier. Okay. So again, I say to you, a person has to understand their history so they don't repeat that history. And without understanding your history, it's a proven fact. You will repeat it. You will repeat it. So we need to help our folks.
I know what you're saying.
And we need to help ourselves as well.
To some degree.
Yeah, to some degree, I get you.
But
Okay,
I'm serious.
but I don't have a problem with the idea of responsibility. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with it at all. But I think we have a responsibility to help folks understand, but knowing that there is going to always be a percentage who is not going to do it. They're just not. Okay? So I think the word said that we're going to always have poor.
Yeah.
We're going to have a poor among us.
Always.
Okay? It's going to be there. Okay? But then there is an element of folk who say, I don't want to be in this condition, and I want to know how to get out of it. So I need somebody to help me figure this out. And so that's who you focus on. Yeah. Okay? But then there's another piece that we didn't discuss, and I'll mention this real quickly, is that you have an element of folk who made some mistakes in their lives. They had some problems. They got a history now. They got caught up in the system. So now they decided, I want to do better. I want to take care of myself. I want to take care of my family. But yet when they go in to put out an application and they check off that box that says, have you been convicted? They're excluded. Okay? Mm-hmm. So here we have a whole set of folk out here who are dealing with that issue to the point whereas they may not qualify for federal grants or loans for school, or they may not qualify for housing. They may not qualify this, that, and the other, and the next thing you know, either they're going to recidivate, meaning they're going to do something else so they can eat, or they're going to wander the streets. You understand? So we have to help those folk. Mm-hmm. We've got to do that. Right. So, that's a whole nother discussion, Henry.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with you.
And also to add to that, there's over 100 million men, women, and young adults that have felony convictions here in the United States.
That's right.
As we sit here at this table right now, there's over 3 million, all right, men, women, and young adults, okay, under some kind of, either in prison, jail, or under some kind of supervision. So, like, I mean, I just want to add this, is that this war on poverty, we here on the In My Opinion show, we're trying to do our share, all right. We support here in Flint, Michigan, you know, Catholic Charities on Stewart Street, and if you would, and that number there is 810-232-9950. They're always in the need of clothing, food, personal hygiene items, soaps, etc., etc., etc. They feed twice. They help feed families twice a day. They had to put on this second feeding period because of the abundance and the magnitude of people here in Genesee County that that are hungry. Sometimes I've volunteered down there a few times. Okay, and the director is John Mans, and they need all the help that they possibly can get down there. All right, we here on the In My Opinion show. We've stepped up and we supply for Thanksgiving. We supply all of their turkeys. We've done this for 7 or 8 years. And also, too, we have a program that's called Feed a Family program, which launched in February of 2011. And thus far, we're trying to do what we can, but we've provided food baskets for over 200 individuals and families. So anybody out there listening, you could do this yourself. Help somebody that that needs help. Okay,
well, I'm glad you make that appeal.
That are hungry. All right, and the Feed a Family program needs all the assistance and help that they can get. Okay, because it's heart-wrenching, to see somebody hungry. Okay, I know what hunger feels like because I was one of those persons that didn't have to leave home. Okay, but I thought I knew every doggone thing and didn't. All right, and there was a bunch of days and nights that I went hungry. Them romaine noodles, as they call them, and how many grits. That shit got old real quick. Okay, sure.
I want to thank you and the In My Opinion staff and panel for allowing this discussion to occur, because we need to have this discussion. We need to find out where our waste is. We need to find out where the best opportunities are to deal with those who are yet left behind in poverty. We know that there are people left behind in poverty, but we need to narrow it down so it's a manageable problem, not just a problem thrown out that the people throw up their hands and say, alas, there's nothing you can do with it. And that seemed to be the sentiment as we discuss it today. We have to be believable, substantive, and relevant. All of our and there's going to be studies that prove that there is truly a problem out there.
Well, there is a problem, a major problem. Okay, anytime, as I mentioned before, you see a lady with her children, at the stop sign, wanting assistance, to feed her family, and et cetera, et cetera. All right, that there is a problem. Okay, and again, for those that help somebody, if it's just one person.
Right.
Help, but do something, okay, other than yourself, because I think would be rewarded. Again, that number for those that are interested, Catholic Charities of Shiawassee in Genesee County. The director's name is John Mans. That phone number is it's 901 Chippewa Street here in Flint, Michigan, and phone number is 810-232-9950.
And I think what Henry said is well stated, and I think that we as a local body need to look at the fact that there are churches and other groups that are doing some good work in this community. They're opening up and having clothing giveaways and food giveaways and things of that nature on a regular basis, and it's about helping people understand where those resources are so that they can go about, getting their needs met.
Absolutely.
And so that's going to be ongoing, and I just believe that centrally, when they look at Catholic charities, there may be some who may say, well, Catholic, is that, are we supporting a religious organization? Not necessarily so. They have the title, but they have a lot of various services under that umbrella, so they need to be aware of that.
Yes, let me clarify that too. It may be Catholic charities, but everybody is welcome. It doesn't matter what denomination that you follow. It's for everybody. Right. Everybody is welcome. Everybody is treated equal down there. Okay, right. They have a number of programs. All right, a number of programs. Call down there, and see what's available and what fits your needs. Again, that number is 810-232-9950. This has been a wonderful conversation, but doggone it gets, we don't seem to have enough time to really get into the meats of some of our subjects sometimes, because we only have a half-hour program. But until next time, this is Ronald Berry Robinson and friends saying, stay focused.